YouTube says it has had enough of vaccine misinformation on its site.
And false stories from phony sites to run circles around major news outlets.
Many people don't know the difference between something real and something created to deceive them.
Open your eyes.
If you've ever had this feeling that something was terribly wrong with the world that we live in, but you couldn't figure out just what it was, then you've come to the right place. Secret societies, mystery religions, and the Illuminati have been controlling our reality since the beginning of time. But not anymore, because there is an awakening happening, and you are about to become a part of it. Wake up, because this is a call for an uprising.
This is a call for an uprising. Welcome to today's show. For years, I've been warning about Donald Trump, even going back to his first term in 2019, about the North American Union, about the Club of Rome's 10 Kingdom plan. And here we have Pete Hegseth, who's Trump's right-hand man. He is the U.S. War Secretary, talking about Donald Trump unveiling a plan for the greater North America. So the North American Union, you could call it that. You can call it the 10 Kingdom Plan, which is what it really is, which I'll get into momentarily. And the Club of Rome, as I have talked about for years, for those of you who haven't heard, I highly recommend you pay attention. But now they're calling it the greater North America, of course. It's kind of funny because we know about the greater Israel as well, and Israel, North America, almost one in the same. Obviously, we know that they are working side by side here to bring about a new world order, even though the magatards and all of these alt-right media talking heads are clueless about what's really going on. Yet they get promoted, they get talked about, they end up at the White House because they're doing their job. They're distracting you from what Donald Trump is bringing in. The left and right are both completely controlled. For those of you that don't get it, your vote doesn't count. The left and right is a system created to keep us divided, and that's exactly what's happening. Because if you're in the right and you hear me talking, you automatically think I'm a liberal or a Democrat. And guess what? I'm not. And most of the people listening to my channel are not either, because we're not under hypnotism. We're not under mind control. We know what the Great American Experiment is. It is a massive MK Ultra mind control experiment brought to you by Operation Paperclip after World War II. And a lot of the members of the Synagogue of Satan who came over to North America to begin this experiment. Now we see the effects of this experiment because we see people completely under mind control, following a president who they don't know, who they think they know, and talking about him as if he's a chosen prophet from God. So Pete Hegseth is talking about Donald Trump's Greater North America plan. Here he is talking about it, and I apologize for some of the skipping it. It actually has nothing to do with me. This is how it actually aired on C-SPAN. Yes, C-SPAN apparently still exists. Who will ever forget the good old days where people used to prank into C-SPAN morning shows? Those were great. If you've ever seen those, I would definitely look them up on YouTube. But the quality of the video is not great. But pay attention to what he says about the greater North America.
That is why President Trump has drawn a new strategic map from Greenland to the Gulf of America to the Panama Canal and its surrounding countries. At the Department of War, we call this strategic map the Greater North America. Why? Because every sovereign nation and territory north of the equator, from Greenland to Ecuador and from Alaska to Guyana, is not part of the global south. It is a security perimeter in this great neighborhood that we all live in. Each one of these countries border either the North Atlantic or the North Pacific. Each one of these countries sits north of the two basic geographic barriers that exist in this region: the Amazon and the Andes Mountains. This is basic geography that we don't teach in schools as much as we should. And it restores our north-south relations, and we must get it right. In the north, the United States must enhance posture and presence in cooperation with you and our sovereign partners to defend our shared immediate security perimeter. In the south, meaning south of the equator, the other side of this great neighborhood, we will strengthen partnerships through increased burden sharing. This will enable you to take your greater role to defend the South Atlantic and the South Pacific, and to secure critical infrastructure and resources in partnership with us and other Western nations. This is what we did in World War II. just like we sunk ships with torpedoes in World War II. At the Department of War, we called it the quarter sphere defense. And we will do this again.
So I've warned about this for years. I've warned about all of the things that they're doing when they talk to you about Greenland and Canada. This is a long-standing plan that they've had. They don't give you any reasons for this, right? Trump becomes president. All of a sudden he says what? He says, we will go as far as we have to get control of Greenland. And nobody says, why? What do we need Greenland for? He says, well, we need their resources. And everybody goes, okay, Trump says we need their resources. Then Greenland should bow down to the United States of America, because none of these people understand what the New World Order is really about. They think that they do. Most of these conservatives think that they're awake to the globalists and the New World Order. Yet Donald Trump is bringing in artificial intelligence governance with these data centers and everything else that he's doing to destroy the United States of America, as far as division, as far as trusting in human beings, as far as bringing in all of this advanced technology, uncensored, ungoverned artificial intelligence for the time being, all this stuff that he's talked about where AI is allowed to do whatever it wants, all brought to you by Donald Trump, which is exactly how the United Nations drew it up and the World Economic Forum, because AI governance is the New World Order. So he came in and he talked about acquiring Greenland. Then he came in and he said, hey, we also want Canada. We want Canada to become the 51st state. That's the narrative we've constantly heard. And that's because this right here, the Club of Rome, the regionalized adaptive model for the global world system, this has existed for decades. This is what the plan looks like. North American Union, the United States, Canada, and Greenland all merged as one. It's also biblical because this is the 10 kingdom plan. That's what it's called. We know in Daniel, mentioning of the 10 horns and the 10 kings, right? We know in the book of Revelation, 10 kings, 10 horns. And of course, this is referencing the 10 kings representing kingdoms or powers that arise from a final world empire. And these kingdoms and kings will share power with the beast before ultimately giving their authority to him. So we look at the Club of Rome, okay? The Club of Rome never gets mentioned. We always hear about the World Economic Forum, the Bilderbergs. The Club of Rome is very important to pay attention to. Trump, a Jesuit himself. Who are the founders of the Club of Rome? Well, one of them is David Rockefeller. Now, these are books that are shown on the website for the Club of Rome. Okay, Goals for Mankind, Reshaping the International Order, Mankind at the Turning Point That Limits to Growth. So if you're someone out there that's speculating about that map, and you're saying, where that map just got pulled out of nowhere, this Club of Rome map, this 10 Kingdom plan, the book, Mankind at the Turning Point, I happen to own from 1975. Of course, I own it for research purposes, as I've purchased many of these books over the years to study the plan of the enemy. These are pictures from inside of that specific book, where they show you the regionalization of the world system. And you can see it right there with North America. Brief on world system, computer model. This is all inside of that specific book. Now, there's been other models out there that show you the exact same thing. Following World War II, this map came out, the post-war New World Map. How's that sound? It's a New World Order map, and you could see specifically on here. Now, the addition of Mexico is on this map, but you also see Canada and the U.S. as one, as well as Greenland at the top, okay? This is the post-war New World Map. So there's different adaptations of it, but they all have the same thing. The only difference is the addition or subtraction of Mexico as part of the North American Union. And of course, it's very clear, I believe, that they will have Mexico as part of the North American Union eventually. So the Club of Rome's map, of course, can alter as anything can. But if you look at the technate of America, this is the technocracy map for North America, which of course will be a technocracy as we move forward, which is a government, well, that you don't want, completely controlled by technology. Again, this all goes back to Elon Musk's grandfather, Joshua Haldeman, one of the founders of the technocrat or the technocracy movement, and it's completely frightening. It's a possible political system, they say, for Mars, a planet where technical expertise may be especially important. Elon Musk has expressed interest in establishing a technocracy on Mars, and that's really what these characters are playing the role for. Zuckerberg, Bezos, Musk, all obviously connected to DARPA. This is DARPA technology, but they need to have public faces for this technology to get you to accept this technology. And then these are the experts in these fields, which is why they constantly promote these characters and tell you that, oh, they're so smart here. Oh, this guy's so smart there. Oh, these guys are geniuses. Let's listen to them lecture us on how you could become a billionaire like them. It's all facade. It's all fictional stories, just like Zuckerberg's story of how he came up with Facebook. Okay, Facebook was created by the government, the Pentagon, LifeLog project. It was going on for a long period of time that they created it. The exact LifeLog project shut down on the exact same day Facebook opened up. And it's the same exact blueprint, the same exact layout. That's what LifeLog is. And then Zuckerberg became the face of it. And they needed to immediately make a movie about it because they needed you to believe that this wasn't government technology that was created to track you, to know what you're thinking. Because remember, people go, well, know what I'm thinking. Well, think about what people post on Facebook. They post their thoughts, how they're feeling, right? That's literally like being inside your mind. They post what they're eating. I mean, that's how narcissistic our society's become, right? People are out at dinner and they're taking pictures of their food and posting it. Not to mention the fact how many times we see people walking around gyms or malls taking pictures of themselves constantly, posting it on Facebook. You watch any of these crime shows, most of the time, you always see the guy who commits the crime taking pictures of himself, and they'll put those pictures up. Here's the guy who's a perpetrator. He's taking selfies with his shirt off, right? Wow, like a true narcissist, right? That's what our society, that's what technology has created, and this is what the government has obviously wanted. So technocracy here, these are going to be the faces of the technocracy, guys like Elon Musk, when they bring down the system that we currently have in place. And Elon Musk talked about make the Mars technocracy real. How many times we hear Elon Musk talk about Mars and all these sheeple in the MAGA crowd cheer? Completely clueless, right? These are the same people who will question whether or not we went to the moon. Now, we all know we didn't go to the moon, and I'll probably be covering this charade coming up on April Fool's Day of going back to the moon because it's absolutely, I mean, it's so in your face that they chose April 1st. It's absolutely ridiculous if you don't think they deliberately are doing that and going to use AI and other things to convince you that they went to the moon, right? But a lot of these MAGA-tards do actually believe that we did not go to the moon. They will be involved in, think about a lot of these conspiracies. Hey, I don't think we actually went to, Elon Musk is yelling about going to Mars, and they're all cheering. Like, yeah, we're going to go to Mars, right? But everybody out there with a brain should know that Mars is really Devon Island, okay? Do you see where Devon Island's located? It's located in Greenland. Greenland, part of the North American Union, the North American Plan, or what are they calling it now? The Greater North America, excuse me. Okay, you see Devon Island up there? It's located in Greenland. Devon Island, they've even admitted it in the media, is as close to Mars as you may get. NASA uses Devon Island, Canada, to conduct research on Mars as part of the Mars project. So they use that location on Greenland, and they use northern parts of Canada that most people cannot access to show you these fake images of Mars, telling you that these machines are on Mars, taking photos of Mars, showing you life on Mars. And of course, we always see Elon Musk talk about Mars, occupy Mars, right? Elon Musk plan to put 1 million Earthlings on Mars in 20 years. And of course, is the same guy who has flat out told you what's coming with smartphones, that they're going to be obsolete in a few years. That's right, obsolete. And nobody goes, well, what does that mean? Oh, yeah. Oh, it's going to be obsolete. So you're not going to have phones anymore? People are like, oh, I'm not going to have phones anymore. Oh, well, when all of a sudden you can't buy a phone because they don't let you have a phone because they're telling you that BCIs like Neuralink are the way forward, brain-computer interfaces, you're going to say, well, I won't get that. I'm just going to keep my phone. Right, until, of course, you see everybody else with one, and then your phone gets shut off, like the old flip phones that they don't allow you to have anymore. Or phone, think about some of the phones from, was it Blackberries and stuff from the early 2000s that don't exist anymore, right? They become obsolete. They make them obsolete. So they force you in, and you're going to go, oh my gosh, life without my phone, life without my technology, blah, 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 blah. Oh, look, it's safe. It's not the mark of the beast. I'll take it. I'll get this stuff in my body. I'll suddenly turn myself into a battery like they tell me in the Matrix. I'll become nothing more than a machine. And of course, that's what it's about, mixing man and machine. So this has all been written. I've talked about this as well. In the science fiction novel, Werner von Braun writes about a futuristic people who would colonize Mars, talking about transhumanists, and who would be led by someone called the Elon, okay? That's the book Project Mars. It was written by Werner von Braun, who is also one of the founders of what? Of NASA. So it's all right in front of you. We live in a fictional facade reality. But what's important to note here is the greater North America. I've said that this will get brought in, and people have said, no, it's not going to get brought in. And now he's been bringing it in because all he's been doing is conditioning you with the Canada and Greenland talk. That's what you've been getting, conditioned, right? Repetition is the key to mind control. So we just hear Trump constantly talk about acquiring Greenland and turning Canada into one of the, in the United States of America, 51st state, right? Is that the quote? We want you to be the 51st state, right? That's because he's doing this to tell you, oh, well, he's doing it because he's a bully. He's doing it because he doesn't like the politics in Canada, and Canada's ripping us off with tariffs and all this stuff. And, oh, Greenland has resources, right? He's doing it because this is what the blueprint has been for the New World Order. That's what it looks like, the 10 kingdom plan of Rome. And it's biblical because we hear of 10 horns and 10 kings and 10 kingdoms. These are the 10 kingdoms. United States of America, whether Mexico's a part of it or not, which again, I believe could easily be included. If you actually look closely at the technocracy map, you'll also notice at the very tippy top of that map on South America, you'll notice that Venezuela on the technocracy map is also red. What a coincidence that we went in and we supposedly captured the president of Venezuela and supposedly put him in jail. And Trump talked about how Venezuela was going to be ours and we're taking control of Venezuela, right? Well, it's looking more and more like the technate of America is becoming a reality, but it is still really the 10 kingdom plan, just altered. And that's what it's going to look like, folks, as we bring in a new world order right in front of your eyes. I mean, think about all this stuff. Them openly talking about a greater North America. And all these people who are supposed to be awake to conspiracies, awake to these things that aren't really conspiracies, which are reality. They don't read these things. They don't look into these things. They just listen to whatever Trump says. It's called tickling of the ears, really. They get their ears tickled. Right? Trump cracks jokes about trannies. That's all they need to hear. They smile, they laugh. They're like, he's the best. He can't do any wrong, right? Oh, as he brings in a new world order, as he brings in data centers, which will not only deplete resources, which will enslave us, as he wants to bring in a digital ID. He's already mentioned it multiple times. I've done multiple videos on it. He talks about bringing in 6G under your skin. I've covered that many times. These videos are available on the website for anybody who's not on the website at callforunuprising.com. You can go look at all this stuff. All of these things are part of the New World Order plan. These are all things I've talked about years in advance. So this isn't some attack on, Donald Trump because you like Donald Trump. This is part of the problem, the idol worship. These people idolize Donald Trump. They idolize a lot of these people. And they go, I don't idolize them. Oh, yes, they do. They absolutely idolize them. They love these people. They think that these people are here for them, right? It gives them hope. But they should be putting their hope in Christ, not putting their hope in man. But they do put their hope in man, but then they tell you that they're not. They're like, I'm not. I don't. I put it in Christ, right? But then when you actually point out what Trump's doing, they get all butthurt. Oh, you're ridiculous. What are you, a Dem? Huh? Oh, what are you, under mind control? There's no such thing. The parties are completely fabricated. They're in your mind. All Democrats and Republicans are members of the same secret societies. They all network and work together, which is why even sometimes you'll see them out together laughing like Obama and Trump, right? All this stuff with Obama and Trump. Oh, he's not an American citizen. Oh, we need to throw Trump in jail and impeach him, right? I didn't seem to care too much about that when they're sitting side by side laughing, right? At Jimmy Carter's funeral, giggling it up, tickling each other, right? 5 minutes after that, what they say, oh, I don't like him. We were just sitting next to each other, we were just cordial with one another. And then they immediately tell you to hate people of the opposite political party. Democrats are terrorists. Oh, Republicans are terrorists, right? That's what these people tell you to believe and think. Well, they're all buddies with each other. Divide and conquer. And it's happening. Because while everybody's divided and fighting over nonsense, they're bringing things in like the greater North America, these are things people need to know, right? The Bilderbergs, the United Nations, the World Economic Forum. They need to know about the Club of Rome as well, okay? This is another creation of the Rockefellers. This is all part of a bigger plan of a new world order, and it's biblical. Because you could read about the 10 kings and the 10 horns. Daniel prophesied about it, and it's in the book of Revelation. And yet these people just ignore it, right? These are blueprints that they literally have had, whether it's the post-war New World Map or the Technate of America or the flat-out 10-kingdom plan from the Club of Rome. The merger of Canada and Greenland is coming. And that's why all these ridiculous stories, they're conditioning you so that eventually when it happens, you just accept it and you go, what's the big deal? If they didn't give you all the stories beforehand and Trump just came in and said, first day of power, without anyone having just thinking things are normal, I'm taking over Canada and making it a part of it, you'd be like, whoa, what? Oh, wait a minute, maybe. And then you would hear a video like mine, you'd say, oh my gosh, he is in the New World Order. But they're conditioning you through repetition so that you become desensitized and you just go, oh, that's not part of the New World Order plan. Trump's just doing it because Canada sucks. They're charging us too much for stuff they send in and imports and export. He's got to do it. And they have resources we need, and so does Greenland. And they believe it, right? These are the same people who call the media fake. They go, oh, it's fake news, it's fake news. But they get their information from the media, whether it's getting fed Epstein files from the mainstream media that they call fake, or it's getting fed narratives about, oh, why we need to acquire Greenland. They believe it because they're suckers. They might as well have it tattooed on their rear ends. Most of them actually do, right next to their tattoos of Trump's face on their other butt cheek. I thank everybody for being here. I hope you're all doing well. God bless you and your families as always.